Now we'll move on to the sixth principle, which is the development of episodic memory. Remember from our prior discussion, episodic memory is a very special type of memory that requires the coordination of the prefrontal cortex, the brain's executive, with the limbic system, the center for meaning and understanding of novelty. Episodic memory is very different than just remembering details of a past episode. It's extracting something that's personally important, something different, something changed, something that stands out and has personal meaning to an individual. And in fact, it is the basis for the development of the self. Without episodic memories, you don't develop a sense of self. You also, without episodic memories, don't develop the ability to anticipate and think in a hypothetical sense about what might happen in your future. You don't learn to dream, create goals, plans, and really tie the past in with the future. The critical piece that we need to understand when we talk about episodic memory is that storage, the creation of the memory, is the key, not retrieval, not reviewing it later. If we don't help the person on the spectrum to store and create the right information, they're not going to have anything of value to share with us, themselves, or anyone else later on. A lot of people get confused about this. They think it's great to take photos all the time and then later on to say, remember this, remember this, remember this. Well, the child might remember details or odd parts of this, but they're certainly not, if they haven't stored the right information in a meaningful way, they're certainly not going to be able to relive it. And one of the critical pieces of episodic memory is when we remember an episodic memory, we re-experience the original emotion. So when we have a powerfully pleasant or competent experience and we're facing a difficult time, when we go back and remember that sense of confidence or triumph, it gives us the energy to persevere in the face of frustration or even failure. But just remembering details won't do that. So as guides, parents learn to be very careful in spotlighting and creating the memory based on the important moments and linking together the emotional experience and the conceptual meaning of that episode. So remember, storage is more important than retrieval. Now, as I just mentioned, the way we create and decide how to create the desired part of the memory, right, because there's many events that happen, how do we pick out what's important, is through a process we call spotlighting. Based on the objectives and the stage that we're in, we carefully pick out the critical moments of any activity we're doing that illustrate our success, the child's success, in overcoming and resolving uncertainty, because that is what we're after. We spotlight that moment of uncertainty, hopefully productive uncertainty, and then the competent actions that resolve it. So that is a very important task of parents that we have to train them in. Now, to help organize these memories, we try to give them very unique labels. So even a slight variation in one activity, sweeping the floor, let's say, with one person taking the role of the sweeper and the other taking the role of holding the dustpan, could have a very different label than two people sweeping together. So the two people sweeping together could be called two-broom sweep. Very simple label. Whereas the other activity would be sweeper dustpan. Right? The key is that the labels help to distinguish and organize the different memories and make them easier to retrieve. Remember, episodic memories connect the past and future. So as we practice those memories, we not only review, but we have to preview. We want to be certain to start using them to start making predictions, anticipate, and wonder in a curious way about whether they might reoccur in the future or what would happen if we did them differently. We're trying to create that pathway and connect past, present, and future.